Okay, so I'm glad everyone is here to join us today for the Construction Management Online Answer Your Questions. So, I am here to provide mentorship to those that are wanting to accelerate in their construction management careers. And you'll be able to join us on June 17th through the 21st, where we will be providing a free 5 day 1 hour workshop in order to be able to help you find some tools and resources to becoming the best possible project manager that you can. Project and construction manager, because they are two different things. So, thanks for joining today. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into what some of the questions are that are being asked from those in the construction industry. So, we will move right along for our skill builder. And I'm playing with some of my tech here. So Mentor Mondays. What is your question? So the first question that we're going to cover today is, what if I don't have the experience to be a construction manager? So this question does come up a lot because there is a certain amount of confidence that has to go behind whether or not you know enough to be a construction manager. And I think that one of the things that I really want to express is the understanding that we are exactly where we are today because we're supposed to be right here. So, what that means is that you don't have to know everything about everything to be a construction manager. I think sometimes that when you're a point person on the job site, there's an expectation that you know everything and that you'll be an expert on everything. But when we really understand the role of a construction manager, we understand that that is a facilitator of information. It's really more important that you know systems and processes than about the amount of construction experience that you have. Now, some may argue with me on that, but as a construction manager, you're not building it, you're not inspecting it, you're not designing it. You are the researcher. You're going to all of those different individuals who are going to be responsible for the risk associated with the answer. So you want to remove that liability, go to those individual experts, find the information, and then disseminate it across the team. Now, I also want to tell you a little secret that most of us have changed direction in our career pathways 2 or 3 different times during our lifetime. So, just because you went to college for one thing does not mean that that's where your life is going to end up. So, I think that if we know that right off the start and we're able to provide reflection back to those moving into the industry, that we know that there's going to be some things about construction that we don't understand. But if you understand systems and processes, and you understand how to powerfully, kindly, and respectfully ask questions of those who have the knowledge base and have the experience, then you have found some of the tools to be an effective construction manager. We have a lot of people that are moving into the construction industry because they're finally now seeing how absolutely exciting it is. That it's not just about dirt under your fingernails and, some sweat and hard work, although it does have that as well, and that can be very fulfilling. But what we're seeing is that people that are in business, accounting, even marketing people, people who are familiar with contracts, all of these are different avenues in the construction industry that need support and need individuals. So the more that you know about construction, the more that you can learn about the process of the building process, the life cycle of a project, the better you can be at your job. But it is not necessary to know everything to be an experienced construction manager. So, with that, we will move to the next question that we have on board. And that is, how do I communicate with someone older and more experienced than me? So on LinkedIn, um, from my construction management online curriculum platform, we've been doing research through some of the polling that we've been doing. And one of the questions was, do you find it hard to talk to the site superintendent? And I was really surprised by this answer because a lot of people said no. They're ready to just, put their shoulders back and just breast up to that guy and stand on the line and just have a little more confidence than I think really happens out in the field. I know that myself, as a young woman being in the construction industry, I already wasn't confident in the amount of construction experience I had, even though I probably had 60% more than most people just because of the hands-on work that I had done through the years of working my way through school. I still was very intimidated to talk to a superintendent. And again, I just happened to be a woman, but it really has no recall on what gender I was. It was just simply these guys that run these job sites, like they are impressive people, and it can be intimidating to talk to them about things, especially some of those good old boys that are on those big general contracting firms that have a tendency to be a little short when they're asked a question. I think that there needs to be some appreciation for the amount of stress that they're under and the acknowledgement that the reason why they're good at what they're doing is because they're short, concise, to the point, and they get shit done. So I think it's really important to give them some grace and just recognizing that there's a lot of pressure that comes with schedules and budgets and the types of projects that they're running. But I also think that it's important that we treat people how to treat us. And if someone's not treating you right, I think it's very important for you to be able to educate them in the moment. Now, some people don't take to this very well, and that's why you have to be very intuitive when you are reading people in the moment and you're talking to that person. So the best way to go about it is to understand that everyone likes some bragging rights. And so just giving them space to be able to share their knowledge is a really great start of building trust and a relationship that will allow you to be able to communicate back and forth. And it might even open up space for them to recognize that you have some valuable information that you could share as well. I've talked about it a lot in our construction management curriculum, and just understanding human behavior and the human design, we recognize that there's over 5 generations of people working in the workforce together. And so we have a lot that we can learn from the younger generation. Obviously, I personally feel we have a lot to give as well for them to be able to learn. But if we're able to leave that area of space of allowing them to be able to express themselves and understand that there are certain skills that they need to be able to practice in order to become better. So if we're feeling offended by the way that they're talking to us, or we don't quite understand the message that they're trying to get across, then it's going to be our own personal responsibility and accountability to make sure that we educate them on how to talk to us, how we're perceiving the information that's coming to us, and how we might like to hear that information presented. So although superintendents can seem very intimidating, they have a lot on their plate. So I think that we should just stand back and let everybody take a deep breath and do what we can to understand that not everyone hears everything the same. Not everyone says everything the same. So it's very important for us that if our message feels like it's not getting across, that we step back, readjust it, represent it in a different way in order to be able to try to hit maybe one of those 5 generations that we're working with in the construction workforce. So that brings us to the next question is, how do I get a job? Now, this is kind of a scary one because, I mean, we keep hearing about how the workforce is flourishing and how well it's doing. And then I get these messages that are like, I can't get a job. Like, I've put my resume out there everywhere. I don't understand what's going on. So when this happens, we have to also appreciate how the construction industry works. So when we have a money influx coming into the system, we need to see where that money's coming from and have an appreciation of what types of construction may be following the money. So for instance, right now with inflation and interest rates and things that are really much higher than we would like to see, and with a new presidential campaign just right around the corner, some people might be holding on to private projects and projects that require bank loans and that type of thing in order to be able to see what happens in the new election and whether or not we can see some relief in the interest rates that are associated with some of those loans. And so more of the money that we would think that we would be seeing as an infrastructure released by the federal government in some of the financial plans that they've put out that shows us that they want to be able to stimulate the income by infusing that money in those types of jobs. So we're going to be looking for things like that when we're looking for job opportunities. Now, always recognizing that you want to keep that big picture in mind and that vision in place so that the jobs that you do pick up along the way are jobs that are going to align with the experience that you want at the end of the rainbow. So right there at the end of your master plan that you've developed for your life and for the project side of things. And so if any of that is resonating with you, I'm going to do a weird social media thing and ask you to put a 1 in the chat so that I know that some of these questions are things that either you've been thinking about or that you've heard other people talking about in the industry. When we look at whether or not we're going to be able to get a job, obviously, you always need to be prepared. So you should have a number of resumes ready. I would say 3 to 5 resumes that are able to speak to and address the specific types of jobs that you're looking for. So whether it's a field engineer position, project engineer, an assistant construction manager, construction or project manager, you're going to have different verbiage that is going to sit differently with the person that is reading the resume. Secondly, what I like to do is put something called my story and attach that to the resume. This offers an accelerated view of your work ethic, your resilience, your desire and passion to be in the construction industry. And it just gives some personal depth and information about you and how you've evolved as a person, how you work with teams, how you want to grow with this particular company. We usually keep resumes at 1 to 1.5 or 2 pages. That can be hard for some of us that have been in the industry for a long time. And that's why many of the things that we've done are similar from each job. We've just worked with different people or different positions. And so we would identify all of those skills in a lump paragraph and then list the different people that we've worked for. The other thing is always be prepared. So you have to practice your interview questions. Make sure that you have a couple of interview questions that aren't memorized, but are very familiar to you, that you can modify and kind of fit in and use where necessary, and be able to get comfortable in the interview by knowing that at least you have something that you're going to be able to reach for and talk about. And it allows you to be able to kind of release some of the pressure and then be able to answer future questions more naturally as they come to you. The other thing that I would really suggest is don't put something online and then expect a response. It's unfortunate that companies do not provide more impactful information or let you know what you did right or what you could do better in an interview or anything like that that you've done with them. Um, Obviously, a lot of it has to do with the risk associated with a company telling you, oh, you just didn't fit the scenario that we had envisioned, which could mean a number of different things that could get them sued. And so it's unfortunate that they can't provide you that kind of feedback. But at the same time, there are hundreds of resumes that are being filtered, and they're probably being filtered by someone that you will never work for. So they're being filtered by someone who's looking at a checklist to make sure that you mark off all the things on the criteria that that company has set. And that's very unfortunate because it takes out the personalization of understanding that you might be the right fit for their company. You just might not have known how to word it in a way to attract their attention. And this is why I personally think that you should just have your resume in hand. I don't care if you're walking into a site trailer, if you're walking into the construction office. If you want a job, then you need to hustle it. And you need to do it in a way that allows you to build reputable relationships with people so that they remember you and they know later that you're the one that they had on the top of their mind that they wanted for that particular position. So networking always is a perfect place to do this, and hitting some of those hot spots, conferences and those things that are you're going to also be able to gain knowledge and learning experience from while you attend them, but definitely making sure that you do the business card trade and meet everyone out there. So those are the questions that I have today. If you're looking at wanting to learn more about construction management, I am getting ready to have a 5-day workshop, and that's going to be held June 17th through the 21st. We're going to do a 1 hour at 4 p.m. I'm always willing to answer questions, but we will have designated material for the 5 days and just providing you some tools and resources to become a better construction manager, but then also to learn what construction management is about. And is this really the field for you? Is this really the direction that you want to be going? We also have the Skill Builder, which is task-specific mini courses for you that you can have your entire library of step-by-step instruction of how to be able to perform construction management tasks. And I would love if any of you wanted to join me in our 12-week program, Construction Management Essentials. So thank you again. We'll be back next Monday at 10 a.m. for our live Mondays for mentorship. And then also on Fridays, just for the summer, we're doing a Lunch and Learn summer series. And we go over different aspects of construction, technical concepts, so you can learn about drawings, specifications, project controls, systems and processes in the construction management lane. And I would love to be able to talk with any of you. If you have any questions, please make sure to reach out to me on LinkedIn and send me a message on that. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, just message me.